full House and committee stage is expected to take place on Wednesday, the 12th of November 2025.
And after that, there was a resumption of debate on the motion of supply that was moved by motion of supply for the 4th of September, moved by Minister of Finance and National Planning, that the House resolve into Committee of Supply on the estimates of revenue and expenditure for the year 1st January 2026 to 31st December 2026. And this motion was actually presented to the House in September by the Minister of Finance and National Planning, and there being no further debate, the House did adjourn accordingly at 17:59 hours. And just now we shift our attention and look at what is expected to come for discussion this afternoon when the House resumes sitting at 14:30 hours.
Absolutely, we do expect some announcements, if there will be any, urgent matters without notice, if there will be any. And we have a presentation of 3 government bills. The first one will be presented by the Minister of Information and Media. And the bill is the Independent Broadcasting Authority Bill, National Assembly Bill number 27 of 2025. The bill seeks to continue the existence of the Independent Broadcasting Authority and redefine its functions, reconstitute the board of the Independent Broadcasting Authority and redefine its functions to regulate the broadcasting industry in the Republic, provide for pluralism and diversity in the broadcasting industry, to repeal and replace the Independent Broadcasting Authority Act 2002, and to provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing.
And the Minister of Information and Media will present another bill, and this is the Zambian National Broadcasting Corporation Bill, National Assembly Bill number 28 of 2028. The bill is to continue the existence of the Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation and redefine its functions, constitute the board of the Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation and redefine its functions, provide for the imposition and collection of broadcast levy, as well as repeal and replace the Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation Act of 1987. And this is also one of the bills to be presented by the Minister of Information and Broadcasting.
We also expect the Minister of Justice to present the Criminal Procedure Code Bill, National Assembly Bill number 29 of 2025. The bill seeks to amend the Criminal Procedure Code, Chapter 88 of the laws of Zambia. So those are the 3 bills that will be presented by the different ministers.
And after the presentation of the bills, the House is expected to answer to consider 3 questions for oral answer, coming under Standing Order number 80. And in one of the questions is coming from Isoka Member of Parliament, Marjorie Nakaponda. She has directed her question to the Minister of Fisheries and Livestock, and in part A of the question, she wants to know whether government has any plans to implement youth and women empowerment programs under the following livestock farming activities in Isoka district, and these are fish farming, chicken rearing and goat rearing. And part B of the question, if so, when the plans will be implemented, and part C, what the targeted number of beneficiaries per year is, and part D, if there are no such plans.
I expect Mr. Banda of Petauke Central to ask the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development whether the government has any plans to construct houses for the following categories of civil servants in Petauke district, that's doctors, nurses, police officers, correctional service officers and teachers. If so, when the plans are implemented, and the other part of the question, if there are no such plans, why?
And we have a question coming from Kalabo Member of Parliament, Mr. Chinga Miyutu, and he's directed this question to the Minister of Education. In part A of the question, he wants to know whether the primary curriculum contains subjects aimed at imparting learners with good morals, and part B, if so, what the subjects are, and part C, if there are no such plans, why?
After consideration of those questions under Standing Order number 80, we expect to see Shangombo Member of Parliament, Mr. Murika, who's also Chairperson of the Committee on Transport, Works and Supply, to move a motion urging the House to adopt the reports of the Committee on Transport, Works and Supply on the ratification of the North-South Corridor Memorandum of Understanding for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 5th November 2025.
And after that motion, we have orders of the day on today's order paper. We have the Small Claims Court Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 16 of 2025 to be considered at the second reading stage. And then we also have the motion of supply, resumption of debate. So that is expected on the order paper for today. Remember that you can access today's order paper on the parliamentary website, which is www.parliament.gov.zm.
And so, live pictures from the chamber are waiting for the arrival of our speaker. She'll be taking a seat at 14 hours. And, my colleague and I will be back at adjournment time just to give you a recap of the business that will have been considered on the floor of the House today, Thursday, 6th November.
Honorable members of Parliament, Madam Speaker.
And sing of Zambia, proud and free, land of faith and joy in unity, victors in the struggle for our rights. We want freedom's fight, oh, one, strong and free. Africa is our own motherland, passion with and blessed by those who blend. Let us all our people join as one, brothers under the sun, oh, one, strong and free. One land and one nation is our cry. Dignity and peace in Zambia's sky, like a noble eagle in its flight. Zambia, praise to thee, oh, one, strong and free. Praise be to God, praise be, bless our great Zambia, Zambia, Zambia. Green and we stand under the flag of our lives.
Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to consider with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation, in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country, and of those whose interests you have committed to our church. Amen. Honorable members, a reminder for those honorable members who have obtained credentials to log in. Please, can you log in, because we need to start our business.
Good afternoon, you're tuned in to Parliament Television. Today, Thursday, 6 November 2025. As soon as the quorum is constituted, business will resume. 1/3 members of Parliament needs to be present in the House in order for business to be transacted on the floor of the House.
Yes, Claudette. So in this case, the bells are ringing, just to ensure that all the members that are maybe around Parliament buildings to be in the House for business to continue. And today's order paper, we have 3 government bills to be presented by the Minister of Information and Media, and also the Minister of Justice will present one. Then we have 3 questions for oral answer, and then we have 1 motion.
And so the motion is expected to be moved by Mr. Mubika of Shangombo District Constituency. He is urging the House to adopt the report of the Committee on Transport, Works and Supply on the ratification of the North-South Corridor Memorandum of the 13th National Assembly, the 5th November 2025. And we do expect the Small Claims Court Bill, National Assembly Bill number 16 of 2025, to come up at a second reading stage, and of course resumption of debate on the supply motion, which was moved by the Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Order, honorable members. Honorable members, I have one announcement to make, and this is that I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Spring Spy Christian School in Lusaka District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome our visitors in our midst. Most welcome. You may take your seats. Thank you. Urgent matters without notice. The Honorable Member for Nakonde.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for this opportunity. Madam Speaker, the matter I wish to raise is directed at the Minister of Home Affairs. In this case, Madam Speaker, I will direct it to Her Honor, the Vice President. Madam Speaker, the security concerns in Akonde is quite alarming. Madam Speaker, that is a border town, and each and every time people are being killed and the others are burnt to death, because if there is any suspicion that one is a thief, there is mob justice. And I took advantage of that, Madam Speaker. I wrote to the Minister of Home Affairs so that maybe they can double the officers in the border town, because people there, Madam Speaker, are living in fear. Around the 18 hours to 19 hours, most of the people, they need to be in their homes, fearing what is happening. Madam Speaker, these people who are killing people in Akonde, they don't even spare, even the commandos, they can kill the commandos. Because one of the officers was stabbed, Madam Speaker, badly, and this is the situation that we are passing through. So I seek your serious guidance, Madam Speaker, if the Minister can double the officers in Akonde. Also, we are lacking transportation, Madam Speaker, transport, so that at least the officers can use that. I seek your serious guidance on this matter, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Nakonde, for raising that issue. I remember that we did visit Muchinga province when the House was on recess, and I recall that we had a discussion over the same issue. So definitely that's not a new matter which require immediate attention. Honorable Member for Nakonde, you've raised the matter, and the most important thing that you can do is visit the office of the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security to bring to his attention these concerns, if he hasn't gotten them yet. But I recall that after I spoke to you, I even spoke to the commanding officer in Nakonde, brought his attention to, because it's understood that they cross over to commit offenses and then they cross the other side to hide from the law enforcement agencies. It's an ongoing problem. It has been going there. It's understandable that as a member of Parliament for Nakonde, you have that concern, which is genuine. But unfortunately, it does not qualify to be raised as an urgent matter without notice. But please do engage the relevant authorities to see how you can bring sanity to this neighboring, bordering town called Nakonde. Thank you. So the matter is not admitted. The Honorable Member for Nyimba.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it's very rare for me to stand up on this session. Madam Speaker, my question goes to the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security. We have 5 days before the closure of voters registration, and one ward in Nyimba called Luangwa ward, it's only accessible through chopper. I mean, using the chopper. It's either you drive from Nyimba to that area for 2 days. It's when you're going to reach a place called the Chikwasha, Mbirisao, Mantungulu. This is closer to Selenje, and we border Selenje, Mukoshi, and Lufunsa, these areas. Madam Speaker, all the communication through the office of the DC to the Minister of Home Affairs have been, I think we've communicated. And as of yesterday or the day before yesterday, as a district leadership, we agreed that maybe we send the CDF vehicle to pick the personnel from Home Affairs to go and issue out the NRCs, because those who went there to do voters verification and registration, government provided a chopper from, I think that chopper was written Zambia Force or Zambia Police, and of the two. And when we pleaded with the election, the Electoral Commission of Zambia to include the personnel from Home Affairs, they refused that they are not on their plan. The decision has to be made from Lusaka, which we did through the government channels. As of today, Madam Speaker, today, Thursday, the voters, the ECZ have demobilized from these areas. Meaning, the way it happened when I complained about the census, that those people are not counted. Even the voters' cards, NRCs have not been issued. And if you check this word, it's the poorest, it's a poorest performing word in terms of voter registration, because no one has bothered to issue NRCs. Madam Speaker, this is the area where for the last 5 years or so, no NRC has been issued. Those who try to get NRCs, those who want to get NRCs, they have to go to Mukushi or Masansa, where they have to do 150 kilometers, or come to Nyimba for 200 kilometers, and they have to climb those mountains there. And for now, we are going into elections, and these people, they will be deprived the right to choose their leaders. My question, Madam Speaker, I seek your indulgence to compare the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security to send his personnel to Rwangawad in the following areas: Chikwasha, Mbirisao, Mantiongolo, and Malopa. This ward has got only 5 polling stations, only 1 polling station which has gotten a favor from the Minister of Home Affairs to be given voters card, NRCs. So, Madam Speaker, my plea to you.
Your time is up, Honorable Member.
Yes, my plea, my able minister to go there with a chopper. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
I wish I had the powers to compel the minister to do certain things. But Honorable Member for Nyimba, those are issues. I believe we were discussing the issue of voter registration. I know there were so many questions which were not allowed because, and I appealed to the Honorable Member to engage the authorities. Minister of Home Affairs came back to this House with a ministerial statement on that issue. How will it help to ensure that the people that you are concerned about get their voters' cards and national registration cards? It will not help. The best is to engage. To engage the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs, have a chat, see how best, go there yourself, go and encourage people to register, to get their NRCs. Because those are the same people that are going to vote for you, isn't it? So let's make sure that we don't wait to bring issues on the floor of the House. Bringing the issues on the floor of the House should be the last resort. When you have tried everything and it has failed, now you want your constituents to know that you've been pushing, but the door was not opened. But now, I'm sure Makalikuli is listening. Yeah, sorry. I forgot that I didn't see the minister, so I was saying the one who was not around is here now, is listening. Thank you very much. So please do engage the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs. So we go to the Honorable Member for Lundazi.
Thank you. Raise as the Minister of Tourism.
You may proceed, Honorable Member.
It can
good guess that it's human-animal conflict. We lost 2 children just after we had opened our house, our office in Lundazi. One of them died instantly after the hyena. Yes, the hyena went and picked the child whilst they were just having some evening rest around the fire. It went and took the child and mauled the child, and the child died. Secondly, Madam Speaker, the children in Mukomba ward were still playing around in an evening, just around 16 or 17 hours. Madam Speaker, a hyena went and got a 6-year-old child, grade 1, in Lundazi, and the father made a chase for that child. The child was mauled, intestines taken off, and the child died. Madam Speaker, the people in Mukomba area, the people in Kachenche area, the people in Mutuanjovu, and all those areas, they have been getting sounds of hyenas around that area. Last evening I was called as late as 23 hours saying, Honorable, we are failing to even move around, even around 17 hours. Hyenas would have already started making sounds around our area. Madam Speaker, if I had it my way, I would have said I can use CDF and be able to fight. The question that I have for you, Madam Speaker, or for the Minister of Tourism, our friends in Malawi, they have managed to put up a fence. Hence, all the wild animals are running towards our area. No wonder even in Chasefu, a man killed a leopard just last week, as you saw. Madam Speaker, it is urgent, and the people of Lundazi, Chasefu, and Lomezi, they need indulgence of the government. Since he's not around, we need the Vice President with DMMU probably to allocate us with some money and put up a fence so that those wild animals do not finish us. Madam Speaker, I seek your serious indulgence. I submit.
Thank you very much. This human-animal conflict is always a big problem. Of course, it's sad that life has been lost and we continue losing life. But I believe there's a program that is being implemented by the government in terms of putting fences around the game parks. I know Livingstone, I know there are other areas, but maybe Honorable Member for Lundazi, just engage the Honorable Minister of Tourism when he comes. I think yesterday he was around, or the other day. Just engage and see how best, because what we want now is solutions. These ministerial statements are not yielding much. For me, what I believe in is to have workable solutions. I know the Honorable Member for Chama North, is it Chama North? South, Chama South, has managed to do something with the CDF. But I know CDF cannot carry everything, but I know, I've read, or is it somewhere where I saw a document saying that the government is trying to implement through the Ministry of Tourism. Of course, resources are limited, but they are trying to implement something to fence off. So maybe you can engage him so that if there is some, maybe you could be one of the areas that have been targeted, or if you are not, then you can put in a word to him to say, please also consider us. So let's work on that. On that ground, then the urgent matter without notice is not admitted. Not that it's not important, it's very important, but we need to engage the Honorable Minister of Tourism so that we find solutions. Thank you very much. We can make progress. Presentation of government bills. the Honorable Minister of, Acting Minister of Information and Media. Oh, sorry, I didn't see him. I was looking at the Honorable Minister of Information and Media.
Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled the Independent Broadcasting Authority Bill number 27 of 2025. The objects of this bill are to A, continue the existence of the Independent Broadcasting Authority and redefine its functions. B, reconstitute the board of the Independent Broadcasting Authority and redefine its functions. C, regulate the broadcasting industry in the Republic. D, provide for pluralism and diversity in the broadcasting industry. E, repeal and replace the Independent Broadcasting Authority Act 2002. And F, provide for matters connected with and incidental to the foregoing.
Thank you. Let the bill be read the first time.
The Independent Broadcasting Authority Bill, National Assembly Bill number 27 of 2025.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on Media, Information and Communication Technologies. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House by Thursday, 27th November 2025. Honorable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the program of work of the committee. Next bill, the Honorable Minister of Information and Media.
Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled the Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation Bill, number 28 of 2025. The objects of the bill are to A, continue the existence of the Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation and redefine its functions. B, reconstitute the board of the Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation and redefine its functions. C, provide for the imposition, payment, and collection of a broadcast levy. D, repeal and replace the Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation Act Cap 154 of the laws of Zambia. And E, provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing.
Thank you. Let the bill be read the first time.
The Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation Bill, National Assembly Bill number 28 of 2025.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on Media, Information and Communication Technologies. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House on Thursday, 27th November 2025. Honorable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the program of work of the committee. Next bill, the Honorable Minister of Justice.
Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill entitled the Criminal Procedure Code Amendment Bill number 29 of 2025. The object of this bill is to amend the Criminal Procedure Code as to A, provide for forensic criminal procedures, B, make defilement, rape, incense, stock thefts, stealing of medicine, medical supplies, cotton, copper, diamond, gold, railway, aircraft, ventricle signalization installation with associated facilities and installations, distribution systems, transmission systems, vessels, traffic signs, and navigating marks non-bailable. C, making the destroying of or damaging of aircraft, road, air infrastructure, aerodrome, vessel, and navigation mark non-bailable. D, provide for the matter connected with or incidental to the foregoing. I submit.
Thank you. Let the bill be read the first time.
A Criminal Procedure Code Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 29 of 2025.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on Legal Affairs, Human Rights and Governance. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House by Thursday, 27th November 2025. Honorable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the program of work of the committee. Questions for oral answer under Standing Order 80. The Honorable Member for Kantanshi, it was supposed to be asked by the Honorable Member for Isoka,
Point of
but by prior arrangement, the Honorable Member for Kantanshi.
Point of order.
The Honorable
Thank you,
Minister,
Madam Speaker.
first there is an indication for a point of order. The Honorable Minister was saying point of order when I was talking, so I was wondering whether the point of order is on me or on somebody else. The Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation.
216, dress code for members. The official dress for a male member shall be a formal executive suit or a formal pair of long trousers, a shirt, a necktie, and a jacket. Madam Speaker, I know we received the first rains today. Most of us used umbrellas, some used raincoats. His Honorable Butoto Kafua, in order to come with a raincoat in this house. Madam Speaker, I seek your serious ruling.
Including doctor.
Honorable members, I don't know now whether the Honorable Minister is got a new cousin in the Honorable Member for Lunte. But from where I'm sitting, I'm seeing Honorable Member for Lunte dressed in a nice green jacket with a scarf. Now, I don't know whether in where the Honorable Minister comes from, that can stand as a raincoat. So I'm sure it was on a light note, so we can make progress. They just wanted to acknowledge that you are looking very bright, Honorable Member. So let's proceed. The Honorable Member for Kantanshi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 55.
The Honorable Minister of Fisheries and Livestock.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question asked by Honorable Marjorie Nakaponda, Isoka, to ask the Minister of Fisheries and Livestock whether the government has any plans to implement youth and women empowerment programs under the following livestock farming activities in Isoka District. 1, fish farming. 2, chicken rearing. 3, goat rearing. B, if so, when the plans will be implemented. And C, what the targeted number of beneficiaries per year is, and D, if there are no such plans, why? Madam Speaker, our response is as follows. To A, in response to the Honourable Member's question, I wish to inform the House that the government, through the Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock, has been actively implementing youth and women empowerment programs in Isoka district and key livestock farming activities, particularly in fisheries, poultry, and goat production. One, on fisheries production, I wish to thank the Honourable Member for Isoka for the important question regarding government's effort to promote fish farming as a viable livelihood in Isoka district. Madam Speaker, government has indeed established concrete plans to empower youth and women through aquaculture, recognizing its potential to enhance food security, create employment, and improve household incomes. Since 2021, over 737 farmers have been supported in the aquaculture value chain in Isoka district through the following key initiatives. One, Zambia Aquaculture Enterprise Development Project. Through the Citizens Economic Empowerment Commission, the project supported 47 fish farmers with pond construction, provision of fingerlings, fish feed, training, and extension services. This intervention, valued at 5.2 million kwacha, directly benefited 17 women and 13 male youth. Two, scaling up nutrition. Project number 2. Under this initiative, 670 farmers were empowered with support for pond construction and the provision of fingerlings and fish feed, contributing to improved nutritional and livelihoods. 3. Constituency Development Fund. Through the CDF, 20 members of the Garden Youth Club received fingerlings worth 30,000 kwacha, further promoting youth participation in aquaculture. Madam Speaker, the government has also continued to provide support through the Isoka Government Fish Farm, which supplies fingerlings to farmers at subsidized rates and offers free extension services through 3 officers stationed in this district, ensuring farmers adopt best aquaculture practices. These efforts reflect government's commitment to inclusive economic empowerment and sustainable development in rural communities. 2. On poultry production. Since 2021, over 2,186 beneficiaries in Isoka districts have received support through the stocking and restocking program, which provides improved village chickens to enhance household food security, nutrition, and income generation. These interventions were delivered through a multi-sectorial approach involving my ministry, the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, and the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services, with a strong focus on empowering women and youth groups. Key initiatives include the following: stocking and restocking, 1,250 improved village chickens distributed in 2020 by my ministry. On CDF projects, 360 farmers accessed 1.086 million kwacha in loans and grants between 2022 and 2025. Food security packs, 280 chickens distributed to 100 farmers by the Ministry of Community Development in 2025. Scaling up nutrition, 476 farmers received 2,380 chickens, and some of the beneficiaries under the person scheme handed over 526 chickens to 177 farmers. On goat production, the ministry has supported 1,797 farmers in goat production in Isoka district, contributing to improved livelihoods and food security. The key initiatives include stocking and restocking. My ministry restocked 1,413 goats in 2020. CDF, 60 farmers accessed loans and grants for the goats production amounting to 190,000 between 2022 and 2025. on food security packs. 60 goats were stocked for 20 farmers under the Alternative Livelihood Program in 2025. Further, 264 goats were distributed through community welfare assistance committees in Kanyala, Lualizi, Mpungu, and Kantensha. These interventions are part of government's broader strategy to promote inclusive livestock development, enhance food and nutrition security, and create sustainable livelihoods for youth and women in Isoka district. B, answer to B, as stated above, these empowerment programs are already being implemented and are ongoing. Therefore, the question of when they will be implemented does not arise. Answer to question C, Madam Speaker. While the ministry does not set a fixed annual target due to varying resource availability, it remains committed to increasing participation in livestock and aquaculture initiatives each year. Particular emphasis is placed on empowering women and youth, using the 2020 figures as a baseline for future planning and expansion. In line with this commitment, in 2025, the ministry has scheduled the restocking of Lukundo livestock cooperatives with 1 bull and 9 heifers, aimed at strengthening livestock production and improving the livelihoods of farmers in the area. Madam Speaker, answer to D, the government has clearly demonstrated its commitment to scaling up fish and livestock farming as viable and inclusive livelihood options for rural communities in Isoka district. As such, the question of there being no plans does not arise. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions? The Honorable Member for Kantanshi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Nakaponda left me very serious instructions that I should make a follow-up, especially on our youths. But listening to what the Minister has said, quite clearly the Ministry has been covering the constituency quite well. Maybe just to ask on the issue of target, getting back to your ministry. I know you have mentioned that you have no clear set out targets, but what comfort could you give the Honourable Member of Parliament beyond the 2020-2021 baseline you spoke about, obviously as a basis of our motivation for the question? What would maybe the ministry's position be going forward, so that we just make sure that we have a clear topping on all the good work that you have mentioned that your ministry has carried out? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Fisheries and Livestock.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you so much, Honorable. What I can say is that the issue of stocking and restocking is covering the whole country. So I will be in a position to comment as to how much restocking will be done in Isoka for next year. I don't have the figures right now, but when I get back to the office, I'll be able to check and communicate with Honorable Nakaponda. Thank you so much.
The Honorable Member for Kanchibia.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'll ask the Minister regarding the breeds. The breeds of the fish are being promoted even as you restock, as government restocks. This is a question that Honorable Makozo left unanswered before he left your ministry. Honorable Makozo left this question unanswered before he left the ministry and went to energy. The question of the breeds that the ministry is promoting, profitable breeds. What we have seen, Honorable Minister, through the Honorable Madam Speaker, is that promotion of the local tilapia does not work as profitable for our people. We have promoted some of these projects, interventions under the CDF in Kanchwi, and I want to thank the people of Isoka for bringing this question. This has been a major cry for Muchinga province, Northern province, and other parts of the country, that we need to rethink and re-engineer the breeds. And one of those breeds is an Niloticus tilapia, which proves to be very profitable and also promises to fetch good prices on the market. What is government's policy or the ministry's policy with regard to diversifying the breeds of fish being promoted, including bubble fish, and also the other fishes that we've had, the species that we've had in that part of the country? So especially the Niloticus tilapia, Honourable Minister, would be greatly appreciative to get a firm response from your end. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honourable Minister of Fisheries and Livestock.
Thank you very much for that interesting question, Honourable Chanda. I would like to put it on record that we are being very, very careful in introducing foreign species into the northern part of the country, meaning this Niloticus tilapia is, for now, confined to Lake Kariba, if I may put it that way. Yes, this is, it makes business sense to grow this tilapia because it grows faster than the indigenous breed that is available. However, research is still going on so that at some future time we could be able to incorporate this Niloticus tilapia into the northern open waters. Submit.
Thank you. We go to the next question. The next question, the Honourable Member for Kalabo Central. Is it? Sorry. I'm sorry, apologies, I've skipped. Next question, the Honourable Member for Petauke Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 56.
Thank you. The Honourable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honourable Member for...
At least I know now, Honourable Member for Lunte has got a partner. No, the Minister.
Madam Speaker, thank you for the question from the Honourable Member for Petauke Central, Honourable Samuel Banda, who is asking the Ministry of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development the following three questions. A, whether the government has any plans to construct houses for the following categories of civil servants in Petauke districts. 1, doctors. 2, nurses. 3, police officers. 4, correctional services officers. And 5, teachers. B, if so, when the plans will be implemented. And C, if there are no such plans, why? We answer as follows, Madam Speaker. The answer to A is government has plans to construct housing units for all categories of civil servants throughout the country, including Petauke district. This includes housing units for doctors, nurses, police officers, correctional service officers, and teachers. B, the plans will be implemented once funds are secured by the Treasury. And the C, as stated in A above, government has plans to construct houses for the category of civil servants stated above. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions? The Honourable Member for Petauke Central.
Thank you so much, Honourable Minister, for your response. Now, the civil servants men and women in uniform, they deserve decent housing units. So, could you be in a position to state exactly as to when these units will be built in Petauke? I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Madam Speaker, I thank the Honorable Member for the follow-up questions. The answer to when is really dependent upon the availability of resources. I'm sure the Honorable Member is fully aware of the physical constraints that the country is undergoing and the size of the budget, and that is why necessary projects such as what he has referred to sometimes are taking longer than necessary. I agree with him. There are men in uniform, doctors, teachers, and so on. They require these houses. And that is why the government of the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, has embarked on a program of rapid growth of the economy. Everything we do is towards growing this economy so that we can have resources to undertake some of these projects. In the meantime, the Honorable Member must continue to engage with us where it is possible for us to start or finish some of these projects. We will do so. For the information of the House, Madam Speaker, government is constructing houses and other public infrastructure in the newly created districts and the provincial centers in order to facilitate decentralization and the devolution of services to the districts. These projects are at different stages of progress, and most of them have stalled due to financial constraints. So even in the new districts, we have the same problem. And currently, government is focusing on completing the ongoing projects, and once these are completed, new projects, including houses of the doctors, nurses, police officers, correctional service officers and teachers, will commence, subject again to the availability of funds. This is a legacy problem, Madam Speaker. It's not just a problem that has occurred as a result of the current government. It's a problem that has been there even in previous administrations. And to resolve it really needs resources. To resolve the issues of resources needs the growth of the economy. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Ron.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to ask a follow-up question. Madam Speaker, before I pose my question, allow me to commend the Honorable Minister for Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development, through him to His Excellency the Republican President, for being so magnanimous. That minister is hardworking, believe me you. I want to commend you, Honorable Minister. You are just coming from a marathon across the country doing the groundbreaking of the reconstruction of various roads in our country. And because you came to my constituency to do the same, who am I not to say thank you for having visited my constituency? And I can only hope and pray that the groundbreaking that you did will be seen in fruition as soon as possible. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Madam Speaker, in the last sitting, I had posed a question to the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs, Honorable Jackie Mwimbu, as to when the ministry was going to construct the houses for police officers in Ron Police Camp, which up to now has the billboard labeled Northern Rhodesia Police Camp, meaning, Madam Speaker, that the houses were constructed in the pre-colonial eras. And I was glad that the acting minister, who responded on behalf of Honorable Jackie Mwimbu, promised that the government was going to consider or had plans to construct the houses in one compound. Now that the minister himself had actually responded in his response that the government has plans to construct houses for various civil servants, probably my question, Honorable Minister, will be, do you have a schedule as to how you are going to tackle this issue. Since you have now given a blanket statement that covers the entire country, when specifically are we going to know when you are going to do in Petauke Central, and when actually are you going to come to Ron constituency? Of course, bearing in mind, Honorable Minister, the resource envelope that you have alluded to. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I thank the Honorable Member for Ron for his kind words on what we are doing in the country. The issue of the housing deficit in this country is taken seriously by this government. At the moment, the total housing deficit stands at 1.6 million units. And we calculate that by 2031, this will rise maybe to 3 million units or thereabout. And therefore, various schemes are being looked at to address, to begin the process of addressing this housing deficit. In addition to the housing units that are specific to public service workers, such as the ones he's talking about in the police camps and so on. Some of the schemes that we are working on is to interest those investors through PPPs so they can come and they put up housing estates, and we are discussing with some of these potential concessionaires. The other scheme that we are working on is to see if we can lower the cost of construction, and to that effect, within the M phase, there is a factory that is about to be commissioned, private sector factory, that will be manufacturing high quality panels, concrete panels, that will lower the cost of constructing 2, 3-bedroom houses and so on. But not only lower the cost, but reduce drastically the time of constructing. For example, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom will be about a week. It is complete from start to finish because of these panels. So the issue of deficit is fully recognized by this government, and there are measures being taken. You have seen us commissioning some housing estates in the Chongo area and other places like that being put up by the private sector. You also have seen government commissioning some of these units, certainly in the new districts and the new provincial headquarters such as Choma and so on. So please bear with us. It's a matter that should be dealt with if we work collectively as a country. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chifubu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Allow me also to join Honorable Member for Loan in also thanking the Minister of Infrastructure. The people of Chifubu are very, very grateful for the groundbreaking you came to do in Indola, and we remain optimistic that this project will be realized to the benefit of the people. Find time to pass through Chifubu constituents and get your flowers. Madam Speaker, I want to find out from the Honorable Minister, the issue of housing is critical following government's recruitment of more civil servants across the country in various ministries. So the issue of housing remains critical. Now my question to the Honorable Minister is, have you taken a step to engage business houses such as NAPSA, ABSA, Zanaco, and many other corporate entities to go into partnership with them under the PPP model of finance to assist the people of Petauke Central in constructing the much needed houses for the civil servants in that constituency? Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I thank the Honorable Lubosha, Member of Parliament for Chifumu, for that question. Yes, indeed, I think that is implied in the answer that I gave earlier, that we are trying to leverage the private sector in terms of getting them involved, helping government in resolving the issue of the housing deficit. This is how they're engaged, whether it is NAPSA or the banks that he has talked about. In addition to those, we have an agency under the ministry called the National Housing Authority, whose mandate is to attend to the issues of housing. We are engaged as government to put them in touch or to work as joint venture partners with potential investors that come into this country, those wishing to develop housing estates. We put them together, and their contribution is usually land and other things like that, whereas the private sector investor, they bring in capital. And I think in the near future we'll begin to see the fruition of some of these arrangements. The other way in which those institutions, including NAPSA, Workmen's Compensation, and the banks get involved is when we have programs like this of housing estates under PPP arrangements. Then the financing of those PPP arrangements not only involves money from outside the country or from the equity contribution from the concessionaire, it also involves loan funding from these institutions and indeed investments from institutions in the country such as NAPSA and so on. So we encourage them to participate to ensure that there is funding available for the development of these housing estates. I also wish to mention, Madam Speaker, that one of the things that will help this country address the issue of housing shortages or housing deficit is the citizens' attitude towards high-rise living. I think you'll find that in Zambia, we have had attempts such as in the Kabwata area. I think those are 5 stories, if I remember very well. But the idea of high-rise living has really not caught on in Zambia. Whereas if you look at the other places, like in the Middle East, and indeed even in countries, last week I was in Rwanda, Angola, I can see this, and if you got those who have gone to China, they will see that they've been able to address the housing shortages by these massive housing estates, which are high-rise, maybe 15 floors and so on, because people are used to living in high-rise. I think we need to start educating people. If that gets accepted, which I'm sure it will, we will then be able to address the issue of housing deficit and also improvements of unplanned settlements, because then it will be easy to accommodate those people in high-rise buildings, which frees land that can now be used for investors to pay for the development of those houses. We will be coming up with a plan as a ministry when we are ready to do that. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Lundazi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving a chance to the people of Lundazi to make a follow-up question on behalf of the people of Petauke. Honorable Minister, today I would have joined my friends in congratulating you if you had finished the Chipata Lundazi Chama Matumbo Road. You came and did groundbreaking 4 years ago, and you have only managed to do 4 kilometers. Doing 1 kilometer per year. So this groundbreaking around the whole country, Honorable Minister, I choose not to join in the celebration. knowing very well you haven't done the people of Chipata, Lundazi, Chama, Matumbo very well. Today I would have just said, I endorse you, but I can't, Madam Speaker. The question that I have for you, Honorable Minister, you have advised the people of Petauke, the Honorable Minister, the Member of Parliament from Petauke, to continue engaging you. For him to find a solution for the challenge to the civil servants. Honorable Minister, stopgap measure would be to maybe increase the housing allowance for the teachers and other civil servants, knowing that they can be able to find accommodation for themselves, or allowing my brother here from Petauke, it's only 6 months before Parliament is dissolved. Even if he engages you today, what miracle are you going to perform for you to be able to give housing units to the people in Petauke? Is it just a political answer so that it should pass, or maybe you have other ways or methods in which you are going to use for the people of Petauke? Sir, you must be very straight looking at time. Do you think it's the right time for you to ask the MP to continue engaging you on that issue? I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Madam Speaker, I thank the Honorable Member. Maybe she's coming to see me, I don't know, to come and thank me. I think she has made various points, and sometimes some of these are political points which need to be answered. First of all, this government has never done groundbreaking on the Chipata-Lundazi road.
I hope the Honorable Member for Lundazi is listening.
We have not, since it has come out, it must be replied to. This government has not done groundbreaking on the Chipata-Lundazi road. What happened 4 years ago, when I was on that stretch, was the commissioning of Lundazi Bridge and Misuzi Bridge, the two bridges. That's what we came to commission. Coming to that road, since she has raised it, we had made plans for that. And the quickest and the most efficient way to do that was what was then available from the Millennium Challenge Corporation, which was funded by the American government. We had put it as a top priority road, that is from Chipata to Lundazi all the way to Chasef. It was on the top of the list under the 2025 budget. But as you will recall, President Trump assumed office on the 20th of January 2025 and dissolved the Millennium Challenge account. So as a result, even though we had put it at the top priority, by now what would have happened because of that dissolution of the Millennium Challenge account, together with other agencies of the American government, we have had now to go back to the drawing board and look for other ways of funding that particular road. It is top priority in our minds, and that's why we put it at the top of the Millennium Challenge account for 2025. The issue of engaging is not a political stance. It's not a political stance. Government is a continuous process. We are still ruling up to August 2026, and by the way things are looking, I know that the Honorable Member for Lundazi is a very senior member of the faction of a certain political party. But we shall continue because of the performance that we have brought in the country. So the Honorable Member for Petauke, Honorable Simon Banda, don't listen to the Honorable Member for Lundazi. continue to engage. We will find a solution that will be able to implement. This is a serious government. Not only a serious government, it's a long-term government. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, the Honorable Member for Shuangandu. The Honorable Member for Shuangandu was the last. Sorry, Honorable Member for Matero, you've just come in and you've just indicated.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to make a follow-up question. And I want to agree with the Honorable Minister. I don't know now whether he's launching a campaign, listening to him. He's saying our dear lady is a senior leader of a faction. We know that he's also a president somewhere, of whether it's a big party or small, but he's a president. Honorable Minister, I totally agree with you that this issue of housing for our public servants could be historical, and it requires pragmatic solutions. I'll take you a little bit back that as we were coming to form government, there were projects that were already undergoing. And I think repeatedly the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs has spoken to those projects which were in phases. And those phases that saw the construction of modern housing units for our men and women in uniform under the Minister of Home Affairs and Minister of Defense. If you go to Mons, and I think that's why the Honorable Minister was asking, those were, because we worked with him to put up very good infrastructure there. I could understand why he was asking those Wakarikudi. He was spot on. Was indeed, when you go to Mons, you find modern infrastructure in terms of housing units for both police officers and officers from the correction. So is the Mazabuka. And I think the Honorable Member for Rwansha should have remembered that in Rwansha, those are the standing out housing units. And in many other areas, they were in phases. I would like to find out from you what happened, because under Minister of Defense, you have certain cantonments, even here in Lusaka, where the Petauke was going to benefit along the way if those phases were rolled out as it was planned. You said government is a going concern, and indeed it should have been prudent for you to pick up, from there. What is the current status on those projects? And also looking at the newly created districts and provincial headquarters, as you said, most of the housing units were advanced, but I haven't seen anything in the budgets that have been coming for resources to be channeled to those infrastructure that is yet to be completed. So I'd like to just find out from the Minister, Madam Speaker, what has happened to the rollout of those projects that gave a relief to our public servants. I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister for Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I thank the Honorable Member for Shuangandu. The issue of the rollout of housing projects, the Honorable Member will be the first one to recognize and acknowledge that a number of these were started and were postponed or shelved, those that had not reached 80% completion by his government, and he was a senior member of his government. This is a listening government, and we do listen to the voices from these houses, and especially the opposition. When he makes that statement, we take it very seriously, and that is why, Madam Speaker, I advise that people like him, since he's going to be in opposition for a long time to come, he should go for training on how to advise us so that we can always accept his advice. So, in terms of housing, I've stated what we are doing. And it's going to take a long time. 3 million units deficit that we're going to have by 2031. Even a country like Kenya, where they already have these high-rise living conditions, they have embarked on a program that builds 200,000 units per year, per annum. But even that, to reach a total of 3 million, would take a number of years. So it's a serious problem. It needs all of us to work together. And we are looking for various financing models, and that is why, even as a country, we are a member of Shelter Afrique, which is an organization that was set up to look at housing situation in Africa. And at our meeting in Algeria, we have transformed this into a development bank so that we can then have access to funding. One of the problems we have in Zambia is because of high interest rates, even mortgages are not easily available to the general citizenship. So we are aware of this problem. We are doing what we can to address it, but it has got to be done properly so that it is sustainable. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Next question, the Honorable Member for Kalabo Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 57.
There is an indication for a point of order. What's the point of order, Honorable Member for Shiwangandu?
Madam Speaker, I was just being courteous. I was meant to raise this point of order contemporaneously on the Honorable Minister of Infrastructure. Madam Speaker, I posed a very straightforward question to him. And I'm using Standing Order 71. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Minister, in his response to my question, decided to start drawing me into his debate. I was very respectful to him, and knowing that he's the president. I don't know whether with a small p or big. And now this party is with 2 people. But was in order, Madam Speaker, to insinuate that I, who has got deliverables, and these housing units I was speaking to, I have there for everyone to say. He knows very well. Was in order to insinuate that one, I'm going to be in the opposition for a long time.
When we are coming to power,
when actually, Madam Speaker, when actually he is there by default himself. Because as a president of a political party, we don't see it on any register here. But it was in order to also insinuate that I should go for training in order for me to advise them. Yeah. When I'm able to show him what we have done, the housing units people are already enjoying, and he has failed to continue from where we left, Madam Speaker. Would that be my fault? Because when they were coming, he was promising that we were going to do more.
Yeah.
Add more to what we have done.
Yeah.
But alas, Madam Speaker, he is now making assurances to the Honorable Member for Petauke, and we are concluding the budget for next year. And there's no sign, Madam Speaker, of anything happening in the direction of housing in Petauke.
Yeah.
Was in order, Madam Speaker, not to just invite me to go and show him what we did, in order for us to leave those deliverables, which are there for everyone to see. I think you're serious, really, Madam Speaker.
Yeah. It's a one-termer.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Shiwangandu, you forgot to mention that the Honorable Minister did acknowledge that you are a good advisor. So he was giving you credit, and you forgot all that. Only concentrated on the negatives. Anyway, Honorable Member for Shiwangandu, I think you have sufficiently debated your point of order. So we leave it at that. So let's make progress. The Honorable Member for Kalabo Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 57.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Education.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mr. Miyuto Kalabo Central is asking the Minister of Education, A, whether the primary school curriculum contains subjects aimed at imparting learners with good moral values. B, if so, what the subjects are. And C, if there are no such subjects, why? Madam Speaker, I want to start with stating that the Ministry wishes to place on record that Zambia's education system is anchored on the national values and principles enshrined in the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia, which guide the design and implementation of the curriculum to ensure that education fosters the intellectual, moral, and civic development of learners. For A, Madam Speaker, yes, the primary school curriculum contains subjects aimed at imparting learners with good moral values. The subjects provided in the curriculum are designed to respond to the needs of the individual learner, society, and the nation and global trends, while taking into account the national values and principles. This applies to both lower primary, which is grades 1 to 3, and upper primary, grades 4 to 6 levels of primary education. The curriculum developed by the Curriculum Development Center under the Zambia Education Curriculum Framework of 2023 integrates moral and ethical content across various subjects as part of the holistic approach to learner development. In view of this, moral and ethical values are not taught as a standalone subject, but are systematically integrated into existing learning areas across the curriculum. B, Madam Speaker, the subjects that promote good moral values are integrated across the primary school curriculum. At the lower primary level, the curriculum incorporates moral and ethical aspects through subjects such as literacy and language, and creative and technology studies, both of which are designed to foster character development and positive social behavior. In literacy and language, topics such as conversation cover areas like greetings, family, home chores, and community practices, which help learners to cultivate values of respect, responsibility, and empathy. Similarly, the topic on etiquette focuses on good manners and appropriate social conduct, encouraging learners to build positive relationships with others. In creative and technology studies, learners are taught moral values through topics such as hospitality, which emphasizes good manners and respect when interacting with others, including visitors and tourists. The topic on tourism further exposes learners to different cultures, helping them appreciate diversity and embrace values such as tolerance and understanding. At the upper primary level, the curriculum continues to instill moral values, mainly through social studies, a subject that promotes civic and social responsibility. Within this subject, the topic on family underscores the importance of family roles, relationships, and responsibilities, thereby nurturing values of respect, unity, and responsibility. The topic on friendship encourages learners to build positive relationships anchored on empathy, kindness, and cooperation, while togetherness highlights the importance of community, mutual respect, and collective responsibility, fostering social cohesion. Further, the topic on governance introduces learners to the principles of leadership, decision-making, and accountability, thereby promoting fairness, transparency, and good citizenship. Madam Speaker, beyond the formal curriculum, the Ministry of Education, in collaboration with the Office of the President, through the Office of the Vice President, through the Department of National Guidance and Religious Affairs, has developed a National Values and Principles Guide. This guide serves as a foundation for the development of supplementary materials that reinforce the teaching of moral, and ethical values among learners, thereby nurturing responsible, respectful, and value-driven citizens. C. Madam Speaker, in view of the foregoing, Part C of the question, which seeks reasons for the absence of such subjects, does not arise as the primary school curriculum already contains subjects and topics that impart good moral values to learners. Madam Speaker, the Ministry remains committed to ensuring that education in Zambia not only imparts knowledge and skills, but also nurtures learners who are morally upright, responsible, and guided by national values and principles. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions? The Honorable Member for Kalabo Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Primarily, the basis for this question, Honorable Madam Speaker, like you asked yesterday, what was the essence, the idea behind that question on the visas? The question on morality, Honorable Minister, what is the yardstick that the ministry uses to measure the impact of these subjects to the achievement of the morality that is required? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Education. Please, honorable members in the back bench there, let's listen. This is a moral issue. We can learn something. The Honorable Minister of Education.
Madam Speaker, I would spend the whole day explaining, because this is part of the things that I used to do in university, teaching ethics and morality, which took me 1 year to teach. But this time around, it is just small things that we're imparting. Probably let me just even tell you about the definition. Values and morals. Values are broad principles guiding behavior and decision-making, e.g. respect, honesty, and responsibility. While values are rules of conduct based on societal norms of right and wrong. So these are things that will be guiding us as we teach these subjects to younger ones. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chitambo.
Madam Speaker, I just wanted to find out from the Minister which bracket of learners are targeted in this the same lessons, and which teachers are teaching these same lessons. Is it civic education? Because I don't see it in our rural areas. So I really wanted to know so that I can go and follow it up. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Education.
Madam Speaker, first of all, let me answer the last part of it, because the first part of it I answered it when I was actually reading the text. I said lower primary, it's grades 1 to 3. Upper primary, grades 4 to 6. Teachers are trained. Those who are trained in the universities as teachers, they also have trainings in all these, because they do educational psychology. It is embedded within. At college, we also teach educational psychology. So they are embedded within. So these teachers have learned, but we continue doing what we call CPD, so that they are refreshed in case, because first of all, you know, we have so many teachers. Some of them can be morally upright, some of them cannot. But they are taught in colleges and universities to follow a certain way of behavior as they teach, because they are the examples, they are moral model, they are models for the kids. The reason why, Madam Speaker, we have done this is because of the way society has been of late. If you still check when the president comes every year to come and sound principles and values, what we have as a country, his audience is usually this generation. This generation. But this generation, if you look at it, it looks very damaged. So we said, can we go now take these? Because these things used to happen when we were growing ourselves. All right? So we want to instill these morals and values at an early age whilst the kid is still growing cognitively. Maybe they will salvage the next generation. These early ages. Start from there. Motivation. You treat and see who has dropped it. If you see somebody ahead of you, you run there. Did you drop this? Huh? And they were also honest enough. They will check their pockets. If they didn't have anything in their pocket, they'll say, yes, I've dropped. If they haven't dropped, they'll say, I didn't drop anything. You would take that money to your mother. I found this money on the road. This time around, the kid will look around, they've got it 1 quarter. They'll be looking for jiggies. All right? They will not even ask who has dropped that money. That is what we are trying to instill now from early childhood education. And if you have checked, our president is now a champion in Africa of early childhood education. And everybody has appreciated what we are doing in early childhood here in Zambia. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Motion, the Honorable Member for Shangombo.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopt the report of the Committee on Transport, Works and Supply on the proposal to ratify the North-South Corridor Memorandum of Understanding laid on the table of the House on the 5th of November 2025 for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly.
Is the motion seconded?
Yes, Madam Speaker, the motion is seconded.
Seconded by the Honorable Member for Ron. The question is that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Transport, Works and Supply on the ratification of the North-South Corridor Memorandum of Understanding for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 5th November 2025. Any debate? The Honorable Member for Shangombo.
Madam Speaker, the committee, in accordance with the terms of reference as set out in the National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders 2024, considered the proposal to ratify the North-South Corridor Memorandum of Understanding. Madam Speaker, I wish to state from the outset that the committee is in support of the proposal to ratify the Memorandum of Understanding. The ratification of the North-South Corridor Memorandum of Understanding is of immense strategic significance to the Republic of Zambia. This instrument directly aligns our national aspirations for enhanced regional integration, economic diversification, and sustainable development. The corridor linking our country to major seaports such as Durban, Beira, and Dar es Salaam will improve Zambia's access to international markets, lower transport costs, and strengthen Zambia's position as a competitive and reliable trading partner within the Southern Africa Development Community. Madam Speaker, it is this committee's considered view that the ratification of the memorandum will attract substantial investment in infrastructure, manufacturing, and logistics through public-private partnerships, thereby creating employment opportunities for our citizens and stimulating industrial growth. The corridors focus on integrated transport systems, which entails combining road, rail, and port infrastructure, will enhance supply chain efficiency and facilitate the smooth movement of goods and services across borders. Furthermore,
the institutional framework under the memorandum will promote transparency, consistency, and cooperation among member states by harmonizing trade and transport policies and providing clear mechanisms for dispute resolution. Madam Speaker, allow me at this point to highlight a few observations and recommendations made by the committee in its report. It is based on various concerns raised by stakeholders. Madam Speaker, the committee observed with a measure of concern that Zambia may be exposed to significant fiscal pressure arising from obligations under the North-South Corridor Memorandum of Understanding. These obligations could potentially include financial penalties in the event of non-compliance, and additionally, the extensive tax exemptions and privileges extended to the corridor management institution risk diminishing the nation's revenue base. In light of these considerations, the committee strongly urges the government to undertake a thorough fiscal impact assessment prior to committing the country to binding financial obligations. Furthermore, the government should negotiate adequate safeguards and establish clear limits on tax exemptions so as to ensure that Zambia's participation in the North-South Corridor yields tangible and net economic benefit to the nation. Madam Speaker, the committee observed that the North-South Corridor presents an invaluable opportunity to enhance supply chain efficiency through the integration of road, rail, and port transport systems. Such integration is anticipated to shorten transit times, reduce transportation costs for the exporters, and thereby enhance Zambia's trade competitiveness while supporting sustainable economic development. In this regard, the committee urges the government to accord priority to revamping and upgrading of the national rail and road network and formulate policies that promote multimodal transport systems which will ensure that Zambia fully capitalizes on the efficiency, gains, and improved freight movement envisaged under the North-South Corridor Initiative. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, the committee is of the considered view that the North-South Corridor presents a strategic opportunity for Zambia's regional integration and economic advancement. However, such participation must be pursued prudently with the due regard of fiscal sustainability, infrastructural readiness, and legislative coherence. Madam Speaker, allow me to urge the House to support the proposal to ratify the North-South Corridor Memorandum of Understanding. Finally, Madam Speaker, I wish to pay tribute to the stakeholders whom we interacted with, the committee, for the valuable insights they provided. Gratitude also goes to you, Madam Speaker, and the Office of the Clerk of the National Assembly of Zambia for the guidance and support rendered to the committee throughout its deliberations. Madam Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you. Does the seconder wish to speak now or later?
Now, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Ron.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for according the people of Ron constituency to second the motion on the ratification of the North-South Corridor Memorandum of Understanding that has been ably moved by the chairperson of the committee and, of course, who has raised quite a number of salient matters. Madam Speaker, in seconding the motion, allow me to emphasize on a few points that emerged during the interaction that we had with various stakeholders. Madam Speaker, I would probably start with a question as to why is this Memorandum of Understanding important? Madam Speaker, the proposed Memorandum of Understanding is directly aligned with Zambia's national objective of deepening regional integration and thereby underpinning our agenda for economic diversification and inclusive sustainable development. Madam Speaker, what are some of the benefits that the country are going to have following the ratification of this Memorandum of Understanding. I will highlight a few of them, Madam Speaker. One, Madam Speaker, economic and employment benefits. Madam Speaker, this will lower transport costs arising from improved corridor infrastructure, which will render our trade more efficient and stimulate job creation in logistics and manufacturing. Madam Speaker, the second one will be on regional competitiveness. Through the corridor, Madam Speaker, Zambia stands to gain competitive advantage in regional commerce. It will also promote robust partnership with the Southern African Development Community, advancing shared development goals. Madam Speaker, as you know, that our country is no longer a landlocked, but a land-linked. Being a member to this ratification will indeed bring a lot of benefits to the country. Madam Speaker, the third one will be investment and infrastructure development. Madam Speaker, the ratification of the Memorandum of Understanding will indeed attract investment in infrastructure, including multimodal road, rail, and port links, and create the condition for public-private partnerships that drive industrial growth and modern transport system. Madam Speaker, we are all aware that our rail infrastructure in the country needs great attention. And once we ratify, this will be an opportunity for us to look at the rail sector. Madam Speaker, the fourth one will be enhanced supply chain efficiency. A properly functioning corridor, Madam Speaker, will enable smoother movement of goods and services across borders, reducing delays, bottlenecks, and the high logistic costs that presently constrain our exporter and manufacturers. Madam Speaker, let me briefly now just highlight why revitalizing our rail network cannot be overemphasized. We all are aware that our road network, our rail network in the country today is not up to standard, and in most cases, Madam Speaker, our train moves at a snail's pace. In places where it moves fast, it does 20 kilometers per hour. This, Madam Speaker, affects business and the turnaround time. Madam Speaker, our national rail company, Zambia Railways Limited, holds a vital mandate to provide freight and passenger services and to connect Zambia with neighboring countries, thereby linking to regional ports and enabling import, transit, and export flows. Madam Speaker, the second one, our rail sector is significantly underutilized. The excessive reliance on road freight inflates logistic costs, accelerates road wear and tear, and indeed leads to congestion and higher accident risks. Madam Speaker, a robust rail system would shift bulk freight to rail, reduce costs, and alleviate pressure on our highways. Madam Speaker, it is a fact that a lot of cargo now moves on the roads, and as such, our roads are overburdened. Once the rail infrastructure is improved, the 30% that is in the SI will indeed be visible. And it can only be visible if our rail line is perfected. Madam Speaker, the third one is practically, for instance, if Zambia upgrades the rail link from the copper belts to southern ports via the corridor, manufacturers in Ndola on Kitwe will be able to ship finished products and inputs at significantly lower costs and faster turnaround, thereby making local value addition more viable. Madam Speaker, similarly, agriculture produce will be better placed to move bulk produce to regional and global markets, reducing post-harvest losses and increasingly profitability. We know that perishables, Madam Speaker, if they were to move on the rail line, losses are 90% expected. Madam Speaker, therefore, I would want to concur fully with the committee's recommendation that the government should prioritize upgrading our national rail and road networks. Madam Speaker, in conclusion, I wish to reaffirm the committee's full support
of this memorandum of understanding, and I urge the House and the government to move decisively in ratifying the MAU and to alleviate our commitment to revitalizing Zambia's rail infrastructure, thereby unlocking the considerable economic potential of the North-South corridor for the benefit of all Zambians. Madam Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you very much. Any further debate? There are no indications. I call upon the Honorable Minister, Acting Minister of Transport and Logistics, to react to the report.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much. Madam Speaker, I wish to thank all the honorable members for supporting this committee's report. Madam Speaker, government remains committed to actualizing the vision of becoming a regional transport and logistics hub. The country is traversed by several transport corridors, and in order to adequately take advantage of our geographical position, Zambia needs to effectively collaborate with her neighbors to ensure the development and facilitation of trade, transport, and logistics infrastructure and systems along the different corridors in order to ease the movement of goods and people. Madam, we have noted the stakeholders' concerns in the committee's report as the observations and recommendations of the Committee on Transport, Works and Supply regarding the ratification of the North-South Corridor Memorandum of Understanding. The Ministry appreciates the Committee's diligence and the concerns raised regarding governance, financing, sovereignty, and sustainability of the corridor initiative. However, Madam Speaker, the Ministry wishes to reassure the committee and the general public that expressed concerns are fully addressed within the design and implementation framework of the Memorandum of Understanding. Madam Speaker, on the concerns about financing and fiscal burden, I wish to clarify that operations and maintenance of the North-South Corridor will not impose a financial burden on the Treasury. The Memorandum of Understanding is structured to operate on a user pays principle, whereby the costs of corridors, services, infrastructure maintenance, and operational activities will be financed through user fees, tolls, service charges, and private sector participation. This approach, Madam Speaker, ensures the corridor is self-sustaining and financially independent, while also attracting private investment to enhance efficiency and innovation in service delivery. Madam Speaker, on the country retains control over its infrastructure and domestic transport policies. The MOU may provide a coordination framework to harmonize standards, procedures, and systems across borders to promote seamless transport, trade, and logistics operations. Zambia's participation, Madam Speaker, is therefore not a surrender of authority, but rather an exercise of regional leadership and cooperation. Madam Speaker, and on the concerns about institutional arrangements, the Ministry further wishes to inform the committee that Zambia has offered to host the headquarters of the North-South Corridor Organization, which will provide the administrative hub for the implementation of corridor programs. Hosting the Secretariat will not only strengthen Zambia's leadership in regional transport and logistics development, but also create employment opportunities and attract technical assistance, capacity building initiatives and investment into the country. Madam Speaker, on the concern regarding sustainability and implementation, the MOU emphasizes the use of public-private partnership, or PPPs, that operations are efficient and sustainable, encompassing border management systems. The corridor enhance trade facilitation, reduce transport costs, and support industrialization across SADC and commercial regions. Madam, on the concerns about duplication with existing regional frameworks, the Ministry wishes to assure the committee and this August House, Madam Speaker, that the MOU complements existing regional transport initiatives under COMESA, SADC, and tripartite transport and transit facilitation programs. The North-South Corridor is designed as a coordinating mechanism, not a replacement, thereby strengthening rather than duplicating regional integration efforts. Madam, as I conclude, the Ministry reaffirms that Zambia's ratification of this North-South Corridor MOU is a strategic step towards realizing the vision of a land-linked Zambia that is efficiently connected to regional and global markets. The user pays model, private sector involvement, and also Zambia's offer to host the Secretariat demonstrates the government's commitment to transparency, self-sustainability, and regional leadership. Madam, I thank you and urge the August House to adopt this very important report. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member for Shangombo, winding up debate.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, let me also join the Minister of Transport and Logistics, members of Parliament, for unanimously supporting the Memorandum of Understanding on the North-South Corridor. Let me also thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity given to the committee to render this report. Madam Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you. Order. Time to make a decision. I put the question. The question is that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Transport, Works and Supply on the ratification of the North-South Corridor Memorandum of Understanding for the session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 5th November 2025. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. The contrary say no. I think the ayes have it. Ayes voted in the affirmative. The clerk will now read the orders of the day.
The Small Claims Court Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 16 of 2025, second reading.
The Honorable Minister of Justice.
I beg to move that the bill be read now for the second time.
The question is that the bill be now read a second time. Any debate? The Honorable Minister of Justice.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Amendment Bill of 2025 seek to amend the Small Claim Court Act, Chapter 47 of the laws of Zambia, so as to revise the jurisdiction of the Small Claims Court and increase the number of commissioners that can hear, determine the matter in court. Madam Speaker, the Small Claims Court exists primarily to provide fast and quick disposal of cases involving relatively small amounts of monies that require speedily, simple, and procedures. Madam Speaker, the Small Claims Court Act, Chapter 47 of the laws of Zambia does not extend the jurisdiction of the Small Claims Court to proceedings relating to employment claims or claims arising from the Moneylenders Act. Chapter 398 of the laws of Zambia, which involves small amounts of monies that also require speedy, simple, and inexpensive court procedures. Madam Speaker, and indeed the House and the public, the current jurisdiction of the Small Claims Court has resulted in the subordinate courts being overwhelmed with the cases involving small amounts of money that can be properly dealt with the Small Claims Court. Madam Speaker, indeed the House, therefore there is need to amend the Small Act 40 chapter of the laws of Zambia so as to revise the jurisdiction of the small, increase the number of commissioners, which will result in the reduction in the backlog of the cases that are before the subordinate court, improve service delivery, lead to the effective and efficient administration of justice in our great republic and the country of Zambia. As I begin to wind down, Madam Speaker, this bill is very progressive, and I therefore urge all my fellow colleagues, honorable members of the House, to indeed wholeheartedly support this bill. Madam Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you. Any further debate? The chairperson of the Committee on Legal Affairs, Human Rights and Governance, the Honorable Member for Kalabo Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Pursuant to Standing Orders 207J of the National Assembly of Zambia, Standing Orders 2024, the Committee on Legal Affairs, Human Rights and Governance was tasked to consider the Small Claims Court Amendment Bill number 16 of 2025, referred to it on Wednesday, 16th July 2025. Madam Speaker, the bill is well-intentioned and was supported by all stakeholders who appeared before your committee. However, the committee identified certain areas that require clarity and adjustment to ensure that the amendments achieve their intended goal. I will now highlight the key points and recommendations of your committee. Madam Speaker, the bill allows companies and organizations to be represented by an officer, employee, or agent. However, the term agent has not been defined. The absence of a clear definition could allow legal practitioners to appear in the Small Claims Court under different titles, thereby undermining the court's mode of operation as a simple and informal court. The committee, therefore, recommends that the term agent be clearly defined to exclude legal practitioners and to limit representation to officers or employees of the body body corporate. This will ensure that the Small Claims Court remains a people's court, simple and accessible to all. Madam Speaker, the bill expands the Small Claims Court jurisdictions to include employment claims. However, the scope of employment claims is not clearly defined. This could lead to confusion and overlap within the High Court's industrial and labor relations divisions, whose jurisdiction is labor-related matters. Therefore, the committee recommends that employment claims be limited strictly to simple liquidated matters such as unpaid salaries, wages, or fixed benefits. Complex matters like wrongful dismissal or union disputes should remain with the Industrial Relations Court. This will avoid jurisdictional conflicts and keep the Small Claims Court focused on being a fast-track court. Madam Speaker, the bill proposes substantial increases in the penalties for contempt, obstruction, and unauthorized adjudication. While it is important to respect judicial authority, the proposed penalties are too harsh and could lead to overcrowding in correctional facilities. The committee recommends that the maximum fine be reduced to 25,000 penalty units or imprisonment not exceeding 3 months. The committee also recommends an alternative to custodial sentence such as community service or suspended sentences. This will promote respect for the court without being excessively punitive. Madam Speaker, the committee observes that the current law completely prohibits inclusion of basic expenses such as filing fees and transport costs incurred by an applicant. This unfairly penalizes successful parties who have spent money to seek justice. The committee therefore recommends that the Small Claims Court be allowed to order payment of necessary disbursements such as filing fees, service costs, and transportation expenses. However, professional legal fees should remain prohibited to preserve the court's informal character. Madam Speaker, it was noted that one of the biggest challenges faced by the Small Claims Court is enforcement of its judgments. Many judgment debtors simply ignore court summons, and there is no power to compel attendance. Therefore, the committee strongly recommends that the court be given back its powers to compel attendance of judgment debtors and to enforce orders effectively. These powers were available under Section 18 before the 2008 amendments, but were repealed. Restoring them will give the court authority and make its orders enforceable. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, the Small Claims Court Amendment Bill number 16 of 2025 is a positive step towards making justice simple, fast, and affordable for the ordinary Zambian. However, its success will depend on implementation. Parliament and Executive must ensure that these recommendations are adopted to strengthen the court's operations. Madam Speaker, I wish to thank all the stakeholders who interacted with the committee for the constructive input they offered. Expression of gratitude also goes to you, Madam Speaker, and the Office of the Clerk of the National Assembly for the guidance and support rendered to the committee throughout its deliberations. Madam Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you very much. Any further debate? Any further debate? I see none. The Honorable Minister of Justice winding up debate.
Madam Speaker, as you have seen the silence from the members of Parliament, clearly this is very progressive and all the members are in support. And many thanks to you, Madam Speaker, just for your committee and their hard work and indeed their best responses and recommendations to the government, and we look forward into looking into those. I thank you, Madam Speaker. And thank you, honorable colleagues.
Thank you. I put the question. The question is that the bill be now read a second time. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Let the bill be read a second time.
The Small Claims Court Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 16 of 2025.
Committee stage to be taken when, Honorable Minister?
Tuesday, Madam Speaker.
What is the date on Tuesday? Committee stage to be taken on Tuesday next week, 11th November 2025. Next order.
Supply motion of 4th November, resumption of debate.
When the House adjourned yesterday, Wednesday, 5th November 2025, the House was considering the motion moved by the Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning that the House do now resolve into Committee of Supply on the estimates of revenue and expenditure for the year 1st January 2026 to 31st December 2026, presented to the National Assembly in September 2025. Any further debate? The Honorable Member for Mwand, is it? She's not there.
Madam Speaker, thank you so very much. Allow me, through the people of Mwandi, to debate the motion that is currently on the floor of the House. Madam Speaker, let me begin by saying this is the first time ever in the history of this country that we've seen a budget that has been delivered where 82% of that budget is going to be funded by our own locally, resources. Madam Speaker, this speaks to the direction of the New Dawn government, where we want to make sure that in the future, 100% of our budget is funded by locally generated revenues. This is in a very, very positive direction. Madam Speaker, let me also speak to the increment of the CDF. Madam Speaker, so much has been spoken about CDF, but to see an increment from the 36 million that it was then to now the 40 million, Madam Speaker, for us who are coming from the rural constituency is something that we cannot even explain. Madam Speaker, we are building schools. We are taking water closer to the children. Madam Speaker, we are building maternity annexes. Madam Speaker, in our rural constituencies, we are graveling the roads. Madam Speaker, on top of that, if you walked to a constituency like Mwandi today, Madam Speaker, what it was 5 years ago and what it is today is totally different. And this is because of this, what this CDF is able to do. Madam Speaker, I also want to speak to something that, we have not spoken really about is the decision by this government to decentralize and take the power back to the people. The development that you see in the constituents comes from the people themselves. They are the ones that are deciding exactly what it is that they want to see in their words being done. Madam Speaker, it is power to the people. Before, Madam Speaker, there was someone who seated in Lusaka and making decisions on behalf of the people of Mwandi. Where someone was in Lusaka and was deciding where a school is supposed to go. Madam Speaker, today as we speak through this budget, the 40 million that has been taken to Mwandi constituents and all the other constituencies across the country. Madam Speaker, we are speaking about the people being able to have the voice to decide the development that they want to see. That is worth 40 million kwacha. Madam Speaker, I also wanted to speak to this budget in regards to the increment that has been done in the mining sector. Madam Speaker, we are walking the talk. When you look at the progression, when we came in 2021 in government, and how this budget has increased, just last year, the budget for mining, for the Ministry of Mines was just about above 600 million. Today, Madam Speaker, we are speaking of a budget that is 1.2 billion kwacha that has been taken to the mining industry. Madam Speaker, this also speaks to the operationalization of the Mineral Regulation Commission. This is something that we've spoken about over and over again. And Madam Speaker, I don't come from a mining constituency, but looking at what this government is doing, I will not be shocked if Western Province becomes one of those that are also going to be involved in mining. Because apart from that, we are also going and making sure that we are knowing what mineral wealth that we have in our country. And also through this, Madam Speaker, the mining sector. For the first time in this country, Madam Speaker, there is a fund that is going to be dedicated to the artisan miners in Zambia to make sure that they can access loans and, be able to provide. This has never happened, Madam Speaker. It's through this budget that we are seeing that. The Mineral Regulation Commission, we are also having a fund for the artisanal miners, Madam Speaker. We've also seen an increase in trade, commerce and industry. Madam Speaker, you can see the linkages that are happening. That as we are improving the mining sector, we do not end there. We're also increasing the budget for the Ministry of Commerce, just to make sure that as we are doing this, we can also finance. Madam, a step in a very, very positive direction. Madam Speaker, as a country, we've really, lost a lot in value chain addition. As much as produce, there is little. Madam Speaker, in this budget, with this, fund that has been provided to the miners, Madam Speaker, it means that the miners will be able to do value addition. And it means that this money that we've been losing, the resources losing in the value chain, Madam Speaker, back to our country. Madam Speaker, let me also go to the education sector. Madam Speaker,
order, maybe. As the time is 16:40, I suspend business for 20 minutes for a health break.
Good afternoon. You're tuned in to Parliament Television. Business will resume at 17 hours, and on the floor of the House, was Mwandi Member of Parliament, Mr. Sibeso Sefulo, adding a voice to a motion of supply, a motion that was moved by the Minister of Finance and National Planning. So we do expect Mr. Sibeso Sefulo to continue debating immediately after the break. Time now to look at business that has been considered on the floor of the House so far, Pauline.
So far we have had one announcement by the Honourable Madam Speaker in which she recognized the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Spring Spy Christian School in Lusaka District, and before constitution she welcomed the members to the National Assembly.
Of course, the House did consider 3 questions for oral answer understanding order number 80, and one motion was moved by Shangombo Member of Parliament, Mr. Mubika, seconded by Ron MP, Mr. Chibuye, urging the House to adopt the report of the Committee on Transport, Works and Supply on the ratification of the North-South Corridor Memorandum of Understanding for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 5th November 2025, and this motion has been duly adopted.
And the Minister of Information and Media did actually present 2 government bills, and this was the Independent Broadcasting Authority Bill, National Bill by 27 over 20, and he also moved this operation. This is the National Assembly Bill number 2025, and another bill moved by the Minister of Justice was the Criminal Procedure Presentation, this is the Criminal Justice Code Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 29 of 2025. So 3 bills have been presented to the House for first reading this afternoon. And we also had the Small Claims Court Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 16 of 2025, which was being considered at the second reading stage. It's gone through the second reading stage, and the committee stage is expected to be taken on Tuesday, 25. So far that is business that has been considered this afternoon, and business is expected to continue after the health break. So for now, we take a break.